Hello students, welcome to Edubbey Global Solution. Again in our mathematics class, we're going to be looking at another topic which is bearing. In this class, we're going to be looking at definitions of bearing, and we're going to be looking at compass bearing and back bearing. Then we're going to be looking at examples that are related from reading of bearings, and we have our past question here, even that will serve as another examples. We have activities related to the topic in this slide, and our interactive content here will serve as a guide for our class. Okay, so let's start with what is bearing. A bearing is the angle in degree measured clockwise from north. Now look at what we have here. Look at this picture here. Under bearing, we have what we call compass bearing. We are still going to be looking at that. And on compass bearing deals with when you have our cardinality points. We have our north, south, east. We have so many cardinal points for bearing. So if you are to read a bearing has to do with, we are trying to read angles in degree. We are starting the measurement from what? From the north. So if, and we read clockwise from the north. Now look at the example of what we have here. If you look at this, you see that we are actually reading this clockwise. This is P. We are reading clockwise from where? From the north. And if you look at this angle A here, is also 45 degrees, and it's actually we read from what? From the north as well. And this is an example of how we read bearing from the cardinal point. Okay, so now for a bearing, to the figure for a bearing is usually what? It's usually three figure bearing. So bearing are usually given as a three figure bearing. So if you want to write an output or an answer related to bearing, so our answer must be in three figure. Okay, let's see. Yes, we are right. Now let's look at an example of three figure bearing. Now let's assume that we are reading 25 degrees clockwise from the north. That's why we made mention of that. A bearing is being reading of angle from clockwise what? From the north. Okay, so we are reading 25 degrees clockwise from the north, then we can usually write it. We won't write it as 25 degrees. No, we are going to be writing it as 0 to 5 degrees, and that is three figure bearing reading. Okay, so now let's look at compass bearings. Compass bearing are usually used when sailing ships traveling the oceans of the world. Now we're just citing an example was when we can use our compass bearing, because all the sailors, they make use of bearing while actually traveling through the oceans of different continents. Okay, so look at what we have here. These different cardinal points that we have. We have north, we have south, we have east. S stands for south here, N is for north, E is for east, and W is for west. Then between north and west, we have so many other cardinality points. And for example here, we have north west, we have northeast, we still have northwest, northeast, and it goes that way. So we have southeast, we have southwest, and we have so now let's look at this. We are telling us that from north to east is 90 degrees. Okay, from east to west we have 180 degrees. Okay, so from south to west rather, we are going to be having another 90 degrees plus 180. That makes it what? 270 degrees. Okay, so from west back to the north, we are reading another 90 degrees, and by the time we have 90 degrees to 270 degrees, that makes it 360, and that makes our clockwise reading complete revolution. Okay, so now when we are talking about the cardinality, as we made mention of it earlier in the previous slide, we can see that we have north, we have north central, we have northeast, we have northwest, we have east, we have south. We have so many of them there, so we cannot say that there are 64 extended points of compass. So I see we just highlighted some of them in the previous slide using that cardinal point. So we have 64 extended points of the compass, which include, we can have north. Okay, after north we can have northeast, we can have south, we can have east, we can have south to east, and we can have west. So let's fix in these activities. Okay, so there are what? There are 64 extended points of the compass, which include what? North. After north, we can have northeast. Okay, so after northeast, we can have south. After south, we can have east. We have west. We have southeast. We have southwest. We have northwest. So we have 64 extended points of the compass. Okay, so let's check our arrangements. We are cool. Now let's look at how to read a back bearing. So we have an example here that the back for this example is example that is related to a back bearing. Okay, so the bearing of B from A is 135 degree. Bearing of B from A is 135 degree, and the distance from A to B is 8 centimeter as shown. We have GCSE, we have A to B, the distance is what? 8 centimeter. Now the bearing of A from B is called what? The bearing of A from B is called back bearing. Why? Now let's read here what they said here. The bearing itself is normally from B, or the bearing of B from A. So that implies that we have our A here to be what? To be 135. So the bearing of B, okay, reading from A is what? Is 135 degree. So if you now want to read B, A, you want to read A now from B, okay? So it's going to be what? It's going to be back bearing. So that implies that if you are to read a back bearing, you know that we said that if you are reading a bearing, we read from what? From the north. So if you are to read a back bearing, okay, so we are going to be reading from B this time around to A. That's the meaning of the bearing of A from B, and we call that back bearing. Now, there are other previous class with made mentions of angles and line. Okay, so and under that we talk about corresponding angles. We talk about alternate angle. So if you look at this illustration that we have here, you see that 135 degree actually alternates P degree here. So that implies that if you have 135 here, then we are going to be having P degree on the other side. And let's note that we have a cardinality point here. So that implies that this is 90 degree. This point as well is 90 degree. So if you add 90 degree plus 90 degree, that is what? 180 degree. Okay, so if you have 180 degree, add it to, we have told us that this is an alternate point, so P is going to be 135. So having that, then we add to what? We add to 135 that we have there. Now we cannot say that we have 90 degree, okay, plus 90 degree, okay, plus 135 degree. And if you have that, our answer is going to be what? 315 degree. And that makes the bearing of A, okay, from B. So we said that P is what? P is also 135 degree. Why? Because it's an alternate angle to A. Now, by the time we add 90 plus 135 degree, we are having 315 degrees. So that gives us the right answer to the boxes. Let's check. Okay, we are cool. Now let's look at another example that we have here. Okay, so we have to read. Okay, the bearing of B from A is 245 degree. So what is the bearing of A from B? Now let's hear what the study says. It says that the bearing of B, that is the bearing of B from A, is what? 245 degrees. So from B, reading the bearing of B, we have A to be what? 245 degrees. So we are now to read the bearing of A from what? From B. So we want to know the bearing of A from B. Okay, now let's study this. We are told that if you have these illustrations, let's try to divide with the cardinal points north, south, east, and west that we have. Okay, so that we can get the details much more better. So let's look at it here. We are dividing here now. So that implies that we have 90 here, we have 90 here. Then what makes this 245 degree? So that implies that we are going to be having 90 degree plus 90 degree, right? Minus 245 degrees. So it's going to be 245 degrees because 245 degrees bigger than 90 degree plus 90 degree. So that is 180 degree, right? So 180 degree minus 245 degree, okay? 245 degree minus 180 degree is what? That is what? 65 degree. So that implies that this aspect here is going to give us 65 degree. And by the time you add all of this together, we are going to have 245 degree. That is the bearing, okay, of B, reading from what? Reading from A here. So now we have to now look for the bearing of A from B. And remember we made mention of alternate angle, corresponding angle in our previous slide under angles and line. So if this degree here we have here is 65 degree, then B as well here is going to be what? 65 degree. And we have told us that the bearing, we read how many figures? 3 digit figures are for bearing. So if you want to read now, then we say that the bearing of B is going to be 065 degree, and that's the bearing of B, reading from A. Okay, so let's look at the past question that we have in this class. The first one here is it. Let's read through. The scale drawing shows that town A, town B, and town C on a map. Okay, so there is a straight road between town A and town B. The scale of the map is 1 centimeter, representing 8 kilometers. Okay, so we have the sketch of that movement here. So if you look at it, we have the movement start from what? Start from the north. So for A now, we have the movement from the north, and yeah, we have this point. And for B, we have the movement is stopped here. So the teacher said that we should measure the bearing of town A from B. So that implies that we are reading from B. So let's assume that we draw our cardinal point. Okay. So if we are to draw the cardinal point, this is how it's going to read. Now from here to here is what? Is 90 degree. Okay. From here to here is what? Is 90 degree. We have another 90 degree here. So we are going to be estimating this based on the fact that we don't have a compass here. So now let's estimate that. Okay, if we have 90, we have 90 in 3 places. So that implies that we are adding up 90 plus 90 plus 90 will give us what? 270. Okay, so we are now estimating that the bearing reading from here to here also will be what? 52 degree. Assuming that we place our compass through and we read through. So if we place our compass through and read through, then we have this to be what? 52 degree. So that implies that we are adding the 3 of them together, 90 plus 90, the 4 of them rather, plus 90, okay, plus what? 52 degrees. So if you read the 3 of them, add up, 90 plus 90 plus 90 will give us what? 270, okay? So 270 plus 52, that is what? 332 degrees. So we are telling us that, okay, so the bearing of town A from B is going to be what? Is going to be what? 322 degree. So if we are to draw here, okay, let's have the drawing. That implies that we are going to be having the alternate angle of this side to be what? To be 52 minus 90, and that is what? That is 38 degrees. So the remaining parts that makes the cycling of 360 for this bearing is going to be what? That's going to be 38 degree. Okay, now the next one there is we should estimate the actual distance in kilometer between town A and town B. We are going to be estimating this as well based on, but if we place our ruler through, we measure that the length of A to B is around 12 centimeter, reading in centimeter, and they have told us that 1 centimeter is what? 8 kilometer, and we have to read in what? In kilometer. So for us to get the actual kilometer, so it's going to be 12 multiplied by 8. Now we are rating what? In kilometer, and that will give us what? That will give us 96 kilometers. So we cannot say that the actual distance of this movement from town A to B is what? Is 96 kilometers. Remember that we have the estimated okay value. Now let's look at the next past question that we have here. We have to read the bearing of that the bearing from town A to town B as well. Let's try that as long as I say that we are reading. So from there now, they said we are measuring the bearing of B, okay, from A. So we are measuring this bearing actually from here, from A. So we are reading from A this time around, okay. So let's assume that we have our cardinal point. We draw it. This is what? This is 90 degree, okay. So if you have 90 degree on that point, So we estimated using our compass that this point from here to here is going to be 23 degree, and by the time you add 90 degree plus 23 degree together, we have 113 degree. So if this side is 113, now if you are reading, let's read our B, because what we need is actually bearing of B from A. So remember, we have made mention of what? Alternate angle. So if this is 90 degree, okay, we have this also to be 90 degree, okay. Then I realize that this side is going to be what? Alternate angle. This side here now is what? Is 113 degree. So we are having this side as well of B to be what? 113 degree. And that is the bearing of B from A. So this takes us to the end of our class. We want you to subscribe to our channel www.edubbey.com for the full interactive content of this class. Thank you.